a post-Thanksgiving hangover episode for you guys today where we discuss a mighty, mighty close defeat for the women's basketball team against the defending national champions, as well as previewing a handful of games. The Old Oaken Bucket game is Saturday, as well as an IU basketball game and a Sweet 16 men's soccer game. So plenty to look forward to this hopefully long weekend for you guys. And we have you covered on today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers.
You are Locked On Hoosiers, your daily podcast on the Indiana Hoosiers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, guys? We are coming to you on Friday morning. I was a little too hungover from that turkey to record on Thursday night as normal, but this is Locked On Hoosiers, your daily source for IU athletics news. We also bring you some analysis, just some fun times in general. Today's episode is brought to you by NetSuite. NetSuite is the #1 cloud financial system to power your growth. Head to netsuite.com/lockedonncaa for special end-of-year financing on the #1 financial system for growing businesses. I'm your host, as always, Jacob Rude. I want to thank you guys for making Locked On Hoosiers both part of your day and your first listen every day. Remember, Locked On Hoosiers is free and available on all platforms, including YouTube at Locked On Hoosiers. As I said, a tough loss for the women's basketball team against the defending national champions. We're going to recap that game, look at where things went wrong for the Hoosiers, and then we're going to talk the Old Oaken Bucket. Fortunately or unfortunately, the last time we are going to preview a football game this season. I've pointed out many times how wild of a ride it's been from August, where we could barely wait, to into November, where nobody really cares at this point. And then wrap up today previewing IU basketball's game against Marshall, IU soccer's game against Washington. Plenty of action this weekend. As always, you can subscribe to Locked On Hoosiers wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Follow us on Twitter at @LO_Hoosiers, on Instagram at Locked On Hoosiers. Women's basketball team battled Stanford, the defending national champions, in the Bahamas on Saturday afternoon. Hard to find unless you wanted to pay a $30 subscription fee to Flow Hoops to watch the game. I don't fault you if you didn't, because I certainly did not, but went back, read through what happened, was following on Twitter yesterday while I was eating. Hoosiers end up falling 69-66. It was a game of missed opportunities late for Indiana. They made just one of their final 9 shots on the day. It was a three-pointer, the one shot that they did make, but they just couldn't really get over that hump at the end of the night. It was a frustrating conclusion to a frustrating game. The Stanford's size, was just overwhelming throughout the whole day. It was an Alexa Gubla three-pointer with 38 seconds left. That was the lone shot of their final 9 that they made. Grace Berger had a chance to tie it with 2 free throws with 9 seconds left. Missed both of them. Stanford gets the rebound, only splits the free throws on the other end, which meant the Hoosiers had another shot to tie it. Allie Patberg's 3 with 4 seconds left, missed. Kinsey Holmes gets the rebound, couldn't kick it out. Ultimately tried a shot, an irrelevant shot from inside the arc as time expired that missed. And it was just a rough day overall for Holmes. She finishes with 6 points on 3 of 12 shooting. Golba was 3 of 13 with 8 points. Stanford's size, like we said, dominated the day. They out-rebound the Hoosiers 59-38. Give you a sense of just how dominant they were. Cameron Brink for Stanford finishes with 21 points and 22 rebounds, as well as 5 blocks. Just really had their way underneath with a relatively undersized Hoosiers team outside of Mackenzie Holmes. really were punished inside. And yet, as I said, as you can tell, despite being absolutely beaten up down low, the Hoosiers were in this game. All of IU's scoring came from its guards almost. Pat Berg had 19, 15 of those in the second half. Nicole Cardano-Hillary had 18. Grace Bridger had 12. There was only 17 points not scored by those three guards. But ultimately, they couldn't execute just a little bit more down the stretch to come away with the win. What I think it did prove, though, is that Indiana belongs with the elites this season, because I just gave you a myriad of reasons why they did not win the game, despite playing not great throughout the day, especially giving up that big of an advantage underneath. They only shot 32% from the field. And yet they only lost by 3 to the defending national champions. So this is an IU team that belongs among those elites. I don't know if there were any questions about that, but those certainly are gone after that performance on Thursday. Impressive even in defeat, and this is a really good Indiana team that I'm certain will learn from this and move forward. They will move forward into Saturday, where they will meet Miami, also in the Bahamas. They'll wrap up their kind of 2-game stint down there. Hurricanes are 4-1, fairly weak schedule. They were 4-0. They won their first 4 games of the season and were not ranked, to give you a sense of, they weren't even receiving votes, to give you a sense of how kind of easy that schedule was. They lost to Washington State on Thursday, 62-47. So they are also coming in off a loss. Should be a bit easier of a game for the Hoosiers. Hopefully they can leave the Bahamas 1-1 and get ready for yet another big game against NC State, another top 5 team here shortly next Thursday. So a week from yesterday. So big games coming up for the Hoosiers. A tough loss, but I still think some positives that can come from that game. This is one of the best teams in the country. They prove that even on an off day, they can compete with the best teams, the defending national champions, even at that. So the Hoosiers will, I have no doubt, bounce back from this. We'll talk a little bit about their game from Saturday on Monday's episode. We also on Saturday, it's going to be a jam-packed day of stuff on Saturday for the Hoosiers. Old Oaken Bucket game. It's the least I've cared about one in a while, but still should be an interesting game. Hopefully the Hoosiers can end the season on some sort of high note, though I don't even know if they necessarily deserve it. We'll give you the preview of that one here in just a moment. We mentioned them at the top of the show, but NetSuite is the sponsor of today's episode. So this is it, the putt to win the tournament. If you sink it, the championship is yours, but on your backswing, your hat falls over your eyes. Is this how you're running your business? Poor visibility because you're still relying on spreadsheets and outdated finance software? To see the full picture, you need to upgrade to NetSuite by Oracle. NetSuite is the #1 cloud financial system to power your growth. With visibility and control of your financials, inventory, HR, planning, budgeting, and more, NetSuite is everything you need to grow all in one place. With NetSuite, you can automate your processes and close your books in no time while staying well ahead of your competition. 93% of surveyed businesses increased their visibility and control after upgrading to NetSuite. Over 27,000 businesses are already using NetSuite, and right now, through the end of the year, NetSuite is offering a one-of-a-kind financing program to those ready to upgrade at netsuite.com/lockedonncaa. Head to netsuite.com/lockedonncaa for special end-of-year financing on the #1 financial system for growing businesses. netsuite.com/lockedonncaa. Indiana football wraps up its long season. Frustrating, disappointing, ultimately going to go down as one of the worst seasons considering expectations, which is saying something with the Hoosiers. They wrap it up on Saturday afternoon. IU versus Purdue, 3:30 p.m. for that Old Oaken Bucket. It'll be in West Lafayette at Ross-Ade Stadium on FS1. Purdue is bowl eligible at 7-4. Indiana is not. which means this is one of the first times in a while that this game does not have any bowl implications tied to it. That has been one of the exciting kind of underlying storylines in a lot of these games, or sometimes it is the storyline in these games, that the Hoosiers will, one of the Hoosiers or Purdue could become bowl eligible with a win. Not the case on Saturday. It's a series, obviously, that Purdue has dominated 74, 42, and 6 all time in the series in Purdue's favor. However, Hoosiers have, I won't say dominated it, but over the last 7 games, they've won 5 of them. Last meeting was back in 2019. Obviously, last season's game was canceled due to COVID outbreaks, I think in both teams, but certainly within the Hoosiers. That was a game, went to double overtime, an IU team that had no business going to double overtime with that Purdue team. They still come away with the win. It was Peyton Ramsey's dive into the end zone in double overtime that got the victory. His kind of shining moment on a great season for him. Samson James rushed for 120 yards that game. Whop Phillier caught 8 passes for 140 yards. Not a lot of guys that contributed in that game, at least in terms of skill players, are back. Peyton Hendershot is one. Miles Marshall is one. Handful of defensive players. You have your Taiwan Mullins were out there. A couple guys like that. Devin Matthews, who we hope to see out there on Saturday. Marcelino Ball played. So not a ton of experience on this IU team playing against Purdue, certainly from the bigger guys. Looking at SP+, Purdue comes in ranked 54th overall, 55 in offense, 32nd in defense. The Hoosiers are 87th overall, 101st in offense, and that is only going down, 63rd in defense. The projections by SP+ naturally are not that pretty. Purdue is projected to win by 12.9 points with a 77% win probability, a projected score of 32-19. BetOnline is even less favorable to the Hoosiers. Purdue is favored by 16 points. If you're thinking an IU upset, you can get plus 520 odds on the money line. Over under is set for 50. If you're doing your math with that SP+ projection, 32-19 is 51. I can't take the over with any IU game right now with how poorly that offense is playing. So bet on the over at your own risk is what I will say. Not a ton of storylines to monitor for this IU team coming in. Tom Allen has said that a number of guys are trying to play heading into Saturday. There's some qualifiers in there that make me believe I don't think they will. Penix, Tuttle, Taiwan Mullen, a lot of those big names are trying to play by Saturday. Again, I'm not optimistic about it. We will see. It's a frustrating way for this season to end, but everything about this season has been frustrating. So in that sense, I guess an apropos way for the season to come to an end. I don't have high hopes for this game, but we've seen backup quarterbacks in the past for the Hoosiers absolutely run wild over Purdue. Shout out Xander Diamont. We hope to see a repeat of that on Saturday. Maybe Donovan McCauley can have more than one successful drive to start the game on Saturday, but nothing that they have done in the past few weeks has indicated that's going to be the case. Grant Grimmel is going to probably get snaps. He got some in that game against Minnesota. I don't necessarily understand it. The argument or the reasoning was that they were kind of protecting McCauley from himself. They're not really putting him in any kind of position to succeed, it doesn't feel like, but that's going to be part of the kind of looking back on this season because there's so many questions that need to be answered about this season. But ultimately, one game remaining. Hoosiers it would be tremendous to end this on a high, specifically beating Purdue, but don't hold your breath on that one. It would be a pretty huge upset if that was the case. To wrap it up, talking about both the men's basketball, men's soccer games on the slate on Saturday as well. Everything is going on Saturday. We just mentioned BetOnline, though. It's Thanksgiving, or it was Thanksgiving. I hope you guys turned to BetOnline to do all your Thanksgiving Day NFL betting. BetOnline remains your number one spot for all sports action this holiday season. Head to the new updated website, whether on desktop or on mobile. Sign up today and receive a 50% welcome bonus with promo code Locked On. That is free money they're trying to give you. There's a ton of stuff going on Saturday. Bet on that IU football game. Get your money back. Try to squeeze in a live bet maybe on the IU basketball game. It's not just football BetOnline has. They have pro and college hoops, NHL, boxing, UFC, your favorite Vegas casino games. Don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports. BetOnline, we're stuffed with deals this Thanksgiving. Built Bar also has their Black Friday sales going on Friday through Sunday only. It's the most wonderful time of the year, Black Friday. Built is going all out to make this Black Friday weekend the most delicious Black Friday that ever has existed in the history of Black Fridays. That's a bold claim. New limited time flavors, new types of bars, and a winter wonderland of a deal. You want high-end deliciousness at a discount all through this Black Friday weekend. Get at least 20% off anything and everything at built.com. Enter that promo code LOCKED20. They have a new flavor in Ruby Chocolate Puffs. It's marshmallowy goodness covered in a unique ruby chocolate. It's never been done before at Built Bar. There's a dark chocolate, there's a white chocolate, and now there's a ruby chocolate. They also have lemon dipped cheesecake puffs. If you love lemon cheesecake, you're going to love this lemon dipped cheesecake puffs bar. The tangy taste of lemon sweet cheesecake and a marshmallowy puff. They also have a Built Crave bar. A Built Black Friday weekend isn't complete without the word free. Buy any box of Built Bars through Sunday and get 2 of their brand new candy bars, Built Crave, for free. Everybody's trying to give you guys free stuff. Built has finally done it. They've come up with a candy bar that is a great alternative to a bar that claims to satisfy. No need to fight angry crowds, no camping out for hours. Your best Black Friday deals are at built.com. 'Tis the season to save and give your taste buds a gift of a Built Bar. 20% off Built Bars, 2 free candy bars, all at built.com. Plus, you can get 60% off Built Broth and Built Boost, 40% off Built Swag. All kinds of stuff going on over there at built.com. Use that promo code LOCK20. Get yourself some gifts this weekend. IU basketball will be in action Saturday evening, 7 o'clock on Big Ten Network. They will be taking on a Marshall team that is another interesting team. They come in ranked 115th on KenPom. They are 4-1 on the season. They just beat Louisiana, who the Hoosiers are familiar with, 93-79. That game, I imagine, was a lot of fun because you saw how fast Louisiana wants to play. Marshall is second in the country in tempo. They are going to fly up the court. They're second in adjusted tempo, second in average possession length. They are absolutely not going to be slowing down at all on Saturday. They're fast, but they're not necessarily efficient. They are one of the worst teams in the country at 3-point percentage. 24.1% ranks almost at the very bottom of the country. They're 343rd out of 358. They're 25th in 2-point percentage, though, which I would imagine correlates with the amount of times they're out on fast breaks getting layups. They don't get blocked very often, and they don't turn the ball over very often. A lot of this is probably tied to them getting out and running. You don't turn the ball over on fast breaks very much. You don't miss many layups. So Hoosiers can keep them from running is obviously going to be a big factor. Defensively, they're below average team. Not particularly great at anything. They don't defend the 3-pointer well. They do defend the 2-pointer well, but they teams shoot well against him at the free throw line, whatever that means. Obviously, a bit of luck, but be nice for the Hoosiers to get some of that luck. They are 5th in the country in block percentage, but ultimately what it boils down to is that this team is always looking to get out and run. They're trying to force long misses, push the ball, and make you pay right away on the other end. Hoosiers have faced similar types of teams, though I don't know that anybody has been kind of as quick as this one will be on Saturday. One of the final kind of tests or warm-ups of the year, I should say, before the Hoosiers start some bigger play. Marshall, coached by Dan D'Antoni. Those of you might be familiar with his brother Mike, who is, I believe, an assistant on the Brooklyn Nets, former head coach. Probably remember him from the Rockets or those 7 seconds or less Suns. D'Antoni is actually now with the New Orleans Pelicans, for those keeping track. Mike is. Dan, his brother, runs a very similar system. Not shocking that they're trying to play 100 miles an hour. So that'll be on at 7. Also on Saturday night, almost the exact same time, at 8 o'clock on Saturday, the Hoosier soccer team will meet Washington in the Sweet 16 game. There's no broadcast information on this yet, considering that the basketball team is on Big Ten Network. It's not going to be there. It looks like the Washington website is going to have a live stream of the game if you want to try that out. Try to watch both games at the same time. But this will be a big one for the Hoosiers. It's the number 2 Washington Huskies coming into this game. No real crossover between the two teams in terms of opponents. The Hoosiers, or the Huskies, I should say, are 15-1-2 overall. They have stayed on the West Coast all season. The Hoosiers have stayed out east all season, and thus there's basically no crossover between the two teams. The Huskies' lone non-victories, they lost to number 8 Oregon State earlier in the season, drew with Stanford, and drew with Oregon State later on in the year. They beat San Diego State, who's number 13. They beat UCLA, who's number 23. They have some ranked wins in there. They beat a Grand Canyon team that was receiving votes at the time as well. So there are some ranked victories in there. They beat Portland in the second round to get to this game. Hoosiers have only played Washington 4 times, and they have won all 4 games. The last contest was in 2001, though. They played in 99, 2000, and 2001, as well as 1992. So certainly nobody, very little holdovers, very few holdovers between those two, if any, I would imagine, just from a coaching staff and that type of, those types of holdovers. So big one for the Hoosiers. They're going to have to upset some teams along the way. We knew that Washington is going to be a tough test, but should be an exciting time on Saturday. So you have your football game at 3:30, men's basketball at 7, men's soccer at 8. The women's basketball team's mixed in there. They play at 8:30, so plenty of evening action to be catching up on. Stay inside. Don't go out Black Friday shopping. Do your Black Friday shopping on built.com. Watch the Hoosiers all night on Saturday. Should be an exciting one. If you can't watch all games, we will have you covered on Monday with some recaps. But thanks again, guys, for making Locked On Hoosiers your first listen every day. We'll be back on Monday to recap all of these games. Hopefully 4 victories. Not hold my breath on that one. Now for your second listen, head on over to Locked On Bets, your daily one-stop shop for all your gambling needs, hosted by your boy Q, with expert analysis and insight from Lee Sterling. Appreciate all the love, all the feedback, all the ratings, all the reviews. It helps us out. Follow us on Twitter. Subscribe to the podcast if you haven't already. Leave a rating and review. Most importantly, though, guys, have a great Friday. Have a great weekend. And we will be back on Monday. But most importantly,